Hi, my name is Ruth McElroy. I'm a Public Affairs and Communications Advisor for the Federation of Small Businesses in Scotland. I think it's a really good thing that we're running with this LGBT hub. I think it's really good internally to kind of embrace and celebrate and advertise our commitment to diversity, to kind of give people a broader understanding of people's experiences that they just don't have. So I think it's really important that we, as such a large organization, such an influential organization, and an organization that's taken seriously by so many at a high level, I think it's really important that we are standing by our LGBT colleagues and members and community, because I think we have the ability to make a difference and an impact. And I'm just really pleased and proud that this is how we're choosing to make that impact. So LGBT rights is one of those issues where devolution is a slightly squiggly concept. So obviously the whole of the UK is covered by the Equalities Act, with the exception of Northern Ireland that has their own legislative agenda. But broadly speaking, Scotland is covered by the same legislation that dictates anti-discrimination policy in England and Wales. However, we do have some minor differences. For example, the recent stramash that has happened regarding the conversion therapy. Our conversion therapy ban is a separate piece of legislation. We include anyone who is on the LGBT spectrum. We do also have our own consultation on the Gender Recognition Act at the moment. So I think one of the things that's always been really important to me as an activist is the idea of intersectionality. One of the important principles within feminism is looking at the ways that different aspects of people's lives and identities impact the way that they experience the world. And I think it's equally important to look at where somebody is, where somebody grows up, where somebody is trying to live their life. It's a really important thing to just make sure that when you're being inclusive, you take that consideration of, well, who can be in the room? People who can't be in the room, you need to find ways to kind of budget to include them and to reach out to them and to make sure that nobody's being left behind. It's really important that as queer people, we are able to find, we are, I think, something hardwired in us as queer folks to find community with each other. And I think that the role the FSB is playing is something that's really important, which is bringing people together. It's to that point about intersectionality, about how your identities impact the way that you go through the world. So if you're a small business owner, you have a set of experiences and problems that are likely to be common amongst small business owners and self-employed people, or whichever group of business people you belong to. But then as a queer person, you have a whole different set of experiences, challenges, opportunities that are likely to belong to members of the queer community. So bringing together people who share those same experiences as you is something that can be so uplifting. It's that not having to explain why something is a problem. It's that thing about, sometimes you just want to be able to discuss the problems that you're having with the people who are having the same problems. By building a community of LGBT business owners, we're enabling people to build that community, to build those relationships, to build those networks. They're going to be helpful, both frankly from a business perspective, as well as helping them kind of grow their own community. When I joined the FSB about a year ago now, I think one of the things that struck me the most is how nice everyone is, and that sounds a bit trivial, but at the same time, there is a real genuine sense of, and this is a terrible cliche, so I think it really speaks to how true it is that I'm using it. There is a sense of kind of family to it. There's this sense that kind of plurality and diversity is a strength. The FSB is an organization that has people employed from, my colleague in Dornoch, way up in the Highlands, to people down in Cornwall. We embrace a diversity of opinion and experience and values and skill sets as a strength. And I think that's something that's really important. I've always been out at work. Obviously, it's never been a problem, but it's never been anything that I've had to explain. It's never been anything that I've had to justify my decision makings in terms of, it's sometimes if an issue were to come up and I would say, oh, well, this reminds me of something that the queer community has been dealing with. And the way that we have addressed it is, and bringing my experiences from feminist activism, from queer activism, has been able to help me kind of cross some hurdles in terms of kind of campaigning challenges. And that is something that's always been welcome.